Good morning to all of you here in the sanctuary of the First Unitarian Church of Bolton, and greetings to those watching this service on your screens, no matter what time it is or where in the world you might be. I'm Mary Johnson, and my pronouns are she and her. I'm one of the worship associates that help with Sunday services either as speakers or as liturgists. I welcome each of you into this community of hope and transcendence. Here we seek wisdom beyond our own experience. Here we open our loving minds to the mystery of wonder and the moral imagination. Here we transcend the day-to-day of our lives to seek for truths both meaningful and sustaining. Here we seek to offer a loving message that provides wholeness in a broken world. We are Unitarian Universalists. And we open our service with a prelude, and it's going to be Prelude by Joy Heft, our accompanist. Thank you, Joy. It is our tradition to light a chalice at the start of each worship service. At its most literal meaning, the flaming chalice is the iconic symbol of Unitarian Universalism. But it has other levels of meaning. It suggests the transformation that takes place when we are held within a religious community. When we light the chalice in worship, we illuminate a world that we called upon to serve with love and a sense of justice. If you are watching elsewhere and have a candle or chalice, please light it now as we all join in saying the unison words projected on the screen and on the back of your order of service. These are new words, and so I have them printed on the back of the order of service. Symbol of light and knowledge, symbol of warmth and freedom. We light this chalice as a symbol of our faith. Here we gather to celebrate hope and the infinite possibilities of love. And those words were written by Reverend Tom Goldsmith, who served the First Unitarian Church of Salt Lake City. My opening words this morning were written by the Reverend Dr. Kendall Gibbons, minister at All Souls Unitarian Universalist Church in Kansas City, Missouri. She writes, "Out of a community of diverse heritage and belief, we come together to share our hope to create good in the world. The prophets of all traditions and times have taught that we are called to mercy, generosity, and mutual care, and that to be great is to serve. We know that there can be no enduring happiness for humanity so long as suffering and want go unrelieved. Until all may be sheltered, none of us is truly at home. May the power of our various faiths sustain us in this work, that we may be the hands of holy creativity and justice." Please remain seated for our hymns. Our first hymn is called "To See the World." It's number 398 in the gray hymnal, but it's a new hymn for us, so we're going to sing it along to a video. We hope.
To see our world in a grain of sand, and a heaven in a warm cloud, holding fearlessly in the palm of your hand, and eternity in that
To see a world in a grain of sand, and a heaven in a wild flower. Hold infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour.
To see our world in a grain of sand, and a heaven in a warm cloud, holding fearlessly in the palm of your hand, and eternity in love.
Maybe we'll sing that again sometime and actually know it. The story of all ages for today is called The Golden Egg Book, written by Margaret Wise Brown in 1947. This is one of my favorite children's stories. I had the book when I was a child. Later, my children were introduced to the book, and over the years, I've given copies of the book to my 2 sets of grandchildren, and we'll watch the story on video. It's thinking.
Hello everyone and welcome to Once Upon a Time Read Alouds. My name is Rachel and today I will be reading The Golden Egg Book by Margaret Weiss Brown, illustrated by Leonard Weisgard. Once there was a little bunny. He was all alone. One day he found an egg. He could hear something moving inside the egg. What was it? Maybe a little boy. Maybe another bunny. Maybe an elephant. Maybe a mouse. Who could tell what he would find? And how would a little bunny know? But there was something inside that egg. He could hear something moving. He shook it. Then the bunny pushed the egg with his foot. He jumped on top of the egg. He climbed a tree and threw nuts at it. He rolled the egg down a hill, but still it didn't break, and whatever was in the egg didn't come out. So the bunny threw a rock at the egg, but because he was only a little bunny, it was a very little rock, and he didn't throw it very hard, and the egg didn't break. Pick, pick, pick. Something was trying to get out of that egg. The bunny sat very still and watched through his shining eyes. He sat very still and listened with his big, soft ears. Pick, pick, pick. Then the little bunny began to yawn, and he yawned and he yawned. The egg was very quiet. He curled up all sleepy and warm close to the egg and went to sleep. He went to sleep because he was so sleepy. Then, pick, 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 and peck, 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 and crackety crack, out jumped a little yellow duck. Well, what is this? Said the little duck when he saw the bunny. What could this little fur thing be? The bunny was very sleepy, so he was still asleep and didn't wake up. Inside the egg, said the duck, I thought I was all alone in a small, dark world. Now I find myself alone with a bunny in a big, bright world, and the bunny won't wake up. So the duck pushed the bunny with his foot and jumped on top of him and threw a little rock at him and rolled him down a hill. And the bunny woke up. Where is my egg? Said the bunny, and where did you come from? Never mind that, said the duck. Here I am. So the bunny and the duck were friends, and no one was ever alone again. The end.
As I said, that's one of my favorite.
Thank you so much for joining me today at Once Upon a Time Read Alouds. I hope you enjoyed today's story. All of the information about this book is posted in the description below. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. See you next time. Bye-bye.
It is a tradition here at First Unitarian Church of Bolton to place each service within the larger principles that we as UUs share. While we are a religion with no requirement of creed or belief, we do have things we support overall, and the service today, entitled Living as If, brings to mind the sixth principle, which is the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. The theme of our service this morning is possibilities, and the next two readings connect with that theme. The first reading is by Emily Dickinson, entitled I Dwell in Possibility, written in 1890. I dwell in possibility, a fairer house than prose, more numerous of windows, superior for doors, of chambers as the cedars, impregnable of eye, and for an everlasting roof the gambrels of the sky, of visitors the fairest, for occupation this, the spreading wide my narrow hands to gather paradise. And the second reading is from Ralph Waldo Emerson, written in 1876. And by the way, Ralph Waldo Emerson is the second cousin of the man who started our church here in the early 1830s, Dr. William Samuel Emerson. Ralph Waldo writes, by his machines, man can dive and remain underwater like a shark, can fly like a hawk in the air, can see atoms like a gnat, can see the system of the universe of Uriel, the angel of the sun, can carry whatever loads a ton of coal can lift, can knock down cities with his fist of gunpowder, can recover the history of his race by the metals which the deluge and every creature, civil or savage or brute, has involuntarily dropped of its existence, and can divine the future possibility of the planet and its inhabitants by his perception of the laws of nature. As part of our weekly worship service, we take time for the expression of joys or concerns. And today I have some electric candles up here in front, and I invite anyone who would like to light a candle representing what is in their heart or thoughts to come forward, practicing social distancing, and light a candle and leave the lit candle on the tray. And you light the candle by clicking the switch underneath. Please come up this aisle and walk down that aisle. The words for this morning's meditation were written by the Reverend Kathleen McTee and found in Lifting Our Voices, Readings in the Living Tradition. Please make yourself comfortable as I share this reading. This is a house of peace. Breathe in a grateful breath that you sit here this moment of your life safely and in silence. There is a war raging far from this place of comfort. We know it is there. We know our brothers and sisters suffer its poisonous touch. Our hearts are weighted with what we cannot resolve. So here we lift a banner in our own souls and remember that in this place, in this moment, we are not at war. Breathe in the truth of this moment. Here is our strength, our deep well of courage. Breathing in, we rest our spirits. Breathing out, we pray for peace. May those in harm's way be safe for another day. May those who drive the engines of power be awakened by compassion. May we all hold the cup filled with courage and will that has been carried by peacemakers in long ages before us. May we drink of it deeply and be steadfast in the ways of peace. Our second hymn is Spirit of Life, number 123 in the gray hymnal and projected on the wall. And I think most of us know this hymnal. The sermon this morning is entitled Living as If and was written by the Reverend Nell Newton, minister at the Amarillo, Texas Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. She writes, "Back when I was still new to Texas, I met up with black-eyed peas for the first time. I was not impressed. Despite the seasonings, to my upper Midwestern palate, they tasted like dirt. So I avoided black-eyed peas for several years until I was talking with a friend from Alabama and the subject of the peas came up. I probably wrinkled my nose and said, 'I don't get what all the fuss is about. They taste like mud.' My friend tipped her head and said, 'Well, that's part of their charm.' Once I realized that it was part of their charm, I tried them again, but this time approached them as if that muddy taste might be charming. And within a few more tries, I was hooked. Now, I might love a red bean or a butter bean a bit more, but I have truly found the muddy charm of a black-eyed pea. Living as if flies against strict rationality that tells you to deal with only and exactly what is, and encourages you to consider what might be. I consider it a way to break up my certainty and remain flexible in this world. Consider something that is uncomfortable, annoying, muddy tasting, or flat out ominous, and go exploring into how you can engage or respond to it differently. In psychotherapy, this practice is called reframing. Cognitive reframing consists of identifying and then displacing certain thoughts with ideas or thoughts that are more positive. It's a useful way of reducing the power that fear has over us. Examine your thoughts and see if you can shift them in a less fearful, more affirming direction. Dreading an upcoming conversation? Think about how it might go well, how you will probably learn something that you didn't know before, and how you want to be after the conversation. Then go and have that conversation as if all of the positive things are possible. It might still be difficult, but you will have more control over how you respond to and interpret the outcome. What about an impending snowstorm? What if it gets icy? What if, while going out to pick up the newspaper, I slip on the ice and bust my backside? Yes, that is possible, but instead I can reframe my anticipation of the cold weather differently. If it gets icy, I can stop to marvel at the ice patterns in my windows. and notice how the sunlight is broken into a million shimmering rainbows on the grass in my front yard. Perhaps then I will walk as if this world is filled with beauty instead of danger. I might also just wait for the snow to melt and read the news online, or take a cue from the weather and just not pay attention to the news for a day. What might this mean in terms of our interaction with one another? Do you find yourself disappointed by other people regularly? How would you go about your chores and errands as if every person you will meet today has a gift, including you? What would be different if you acted as if each person matters, even a person who is really different from you? What might be different in your interactions with that person? Can you still see a spark of the divine in them, or a gift, or their simple desire to be a good person? If your life overall was made difficult by another person, consider living as if that person had been trying to do their best. Most people are. They might have harmed you and made a wreck of things, but unless they were seriously unwell, they probably thought they were doing the best thing. It might take some visits with a counselor and some serious reframing work, but in time, that pain can be eased. Here's another way I practice living as if. When we do some of our Tai Chi forms, we move in a way that imitates animals and elements of nature. We imitate birds and snakes and tigers. We create waves of water, grow like trees, rise up like mountains, and blow like the wind. I know that I am not a tree, an ocean, or a snake, but in moving as if I were, I come to understand them better. By drawing on the shape of branches and leaves, or moving my arms like wings, I have more awareness of what makes a tree beautiful and what makes a bird powerful. What would be different if you lived as if animals had feelings and important concerns? Would you have to adjust how you interpret their behaviors and your own? Would you eat them differently? How would you conduct yourself living as if your life were an ongoing process of discovery? What might happen if you carried on as if there were a great mother who was with you during the awful moments, a love that abides with you and laughs at you and nudges to be the best you? What will be different if you prayed as if the prayers you utter were heard by the universe and manifested as change within you and ultimately out into the world? Amen. Our last hymn is number 159 in the Gray Hymnal, and it's called "This Is My Song," and it's projected on the wall. As Jerry passes the offering basket around, I offer the gentle reminder that this community of faith is supported only by your giving. But stewardship is more than just financial donations. It is also about donating time and talent to help our church. If you can't write a check, please help our church survive and thrive by offering your time to help maintain the building, help on committees, or help with worship. Please donate as you can with your time, talent, and or treasure. All are needed for our church to thrive. You can also mail your gift to the First Unitarian Church, Post Office Box 494, Alton, Illinois 62002. You can give electronically by using Givelify or PayPal. And if you're willing to donate your time and talent, please contact a board member and let us know what you want to do to help. Give what you will and what you are able, for you are a generous people. Please join with me in our offering prayer. May this offering equip us to inspire love and seek justice. And if you are a visitor this morning and would like to know more about the church and or receive our monthly church newsletter and our weekly info flyer, please fill out the visitor card found in the visitor information table by the windows in the fellowship hall and put the card in the basket. Also, the April newsletter is available for visitors to take on the table where you came in. And if anyone needs a name tag like this, please fill out the blue name tag request card that you'll find on the visitor table and put the card in the basket. And are there any other announcements that I'm aware of or I'm not aware of? As our service comes to a close, I invite you to join me in reciting these words as I extinguish the chalice. The light of truth and meaning cannot be put out. We are keepers of the flame until we meet again. And the benediction words are from the Reverend Susan Frederick Gray, the president of the Unitarian Universalist Association. Our UU faith calls us to remain committed to justice, and we believe we have a moral responsibility to support the creation of peace and the equal rights of all people. And now Joy will end our service with post food. Thank you. Please join us for refreshments in our fellowship hall. What?